But her destruction of the law and order in California did not end there. In 2020, Kamala Harris proudly endorsed defund the police. We're going to defund the police. Anybody that was even in favor of defunding the police for 1 month, let alone her entire career, should never be president of the United States. She supported a plan to cut the LA Police Department by at least $150 million and ideally more. This is when your crime in LA was reaching very significant heights. Today, it's at the highest level it's ever been. Harris also endorsed the Marxist, Soros-backed prosecutor, George Gascon, to be district attorney of Los Angeles. And with Kamala's support, Gascon has unleashed hell upon the residents of Los Angeles, absolute hell. Kamala supported Gascon's decision to stop prosecuting criminals for trespassing, disturbing the peace, making criminal threats, loitering to commit prostitution, and resisting arrest. And these are some of the best areas in your state. They were left alone. They were protected by him, actually protected by him. They've been trying to get him out for a long time, but she helped. And this is where she's coming from as president. This is where she's coming from. This is why all of her policies changed. She was anti-fracking. She was anti-everything. And all of a sudden, she changed. Even the first question she was given at the debate gave one of the dumbest answers. They were asking about pricing and would you be better off today or 4 years ago? Prices have gone up at numbers that nobody's ever seen before. And just the concept of being better off, she didn't give the answer. She talked about when she grew up, nobody knew what the hell she was talking about. And based on the polls, it didn't work because Rasmussen, as you probably saw, just came out and they just lifted me up by 6 points for president, which is one of the biggest increases they've ever had in one little short period of time of a couple of days, up 6 points. And I thought the debate was great. I thought I did very well, but I was fighting three people. I was fighting the crazy left radical lunatics at ABC, I think considered the worst, by me, considered the worst broadcaster out there. George Slobodanopoulos, that whole group, they're bad. And I lost a lot of respect for David Muir. He came at me with things, and we'll go over it in a second, but I was right about the crime stats going way up. The fact is the FBI didn't report them, and we're able to keep the stats essentially flat. But the new numbers came in. I guess somebody in government likes me because the new numbers were just released, and you'll see the kind of numbers that we're talking about went not only up, but up at record levels like nobody's seen before when everything was included. And thanks to Kamala, since 2020, crime and drug overdose deaths here have skyrocketed by 40, 50, and 60%. And murder has reached an all-time high. We don't want this for our country. That's why I'm doing this. I don't like doing this other than I know you all have the nicest view you're going to ever have. But somebody's got to explain this woman. There's a radical left, Marxist, communist, fascist. As border czar, she then launched a colossal invasion of California's southern border. Just yesterday, the Wall Street Journal reported that a Venezuelan gang is expanding its deadly reach in the United States. First sentence of the story begins, U.S. law enforcement officials have watched with alarm the spread of a Venezuelan gang known for dismembering people. Dismembering people, right? Dismembering people. From Chile to Colombia, they're all over the place. Now they're in our country. They're known as MS-13. They're considered the meanest, toughest gang in the world. In Long Island, not so long ago, two young 16-year-old girls were walking to school, and they carved them up with a knife. They killed both of them. They carved them up with a knife. They didn't want to shoot them. And we got them out. I got them out so fast, and we did a big number. And I wanted to thank ICE while I'm at it, because ICE has been unbelievable. Border Patrol has been unbelievable. And she wants to get rid of ICE. She wants to dismember ICE. She wants to take them out. And if you didn't have ICE, you'd have a problem in this country. ICE would go in. I remember in Long Island with us, they had a gang that was brutal, MS-13 gang. They came out of prisons from different places, and they formed, for whatever reason. Long Island seems to be a place. And I'll never forget the scene of ICE going into a rat's nest, they call them, when you have a lot of them together, rat's nest. And they walked into that nest, and you just saw arms and fists and feet. Everybody was flying. And 3 minutes later, he saw it. 3 minutes later, they walked out with these guys, dragging them out by their feet and throwing them into paddy wagons and bringing them into jails. And then we got them out of the country and moved them back to where they came from, which Obama was unable to do when he was president. Obama was unable to do it because the countries wouldn't participate. They wouldn't allow him back. But I called those countries, 3 of them. Guatemala, take a look. Mexico, too, to a large extent. And I think probably the worst of all, we had 4 countries. Colombia was rough. We had 4 in South America. But the South America is no longer the problem. We have bigger problems elsewhere. Guatemala, a lot of problems in Guatemala. A lot of bad people coming out. We called, I said, let me speak to the president. I told him, you're not getting any more foreign aid. We got $750 million a year. I said, no more foreign aid. Why? Because you send people over in caravans and you won't take them back, and they're criminals, and we don't want them in this country. And you wouldn't take them back with Obama. They would put planes on the runways, big planes on the runways, so you couldn't land the planes loaded up with prisoners. And I said, that's okay. You can keep doing it. We're not paying you 10 cents. And they called me back 20 minutes later, one of them the next day, 3 countries. And they said we would be honored to take MS-13 back. We like them very much. We're wonderful people. And we got them out by the thousands and thousands. We got them out. And that I attribute to ICE and Border Patrol. They're incredible people. Not only is Comrade Howard, I mean, if you take a look at this, but not only is Comrade Kamala allowing illegal aliens to stampede across our border, but then it was announced about a year ago that they're actually flying them in. Nobody knew that. They were secretly flying in hundreds of thousands of people. Some of the worst murderers and terrorists you've ever seen. They were taking anybody that wanted to come in. And they're flying them in. So when they tell you about their borders a little bit better than it used to be, they only did that for election reasons. Not good, but it's a little bit better. But they don't tell you that the flights are still coming in here, bringing in thousands and thousands of illegal aliens, and they're being dropped into the midsection of our country, because all states are really border states right now. And I'm the border president. I solved it in 2016, probably got elected because of that in 2016. And really, there was nothing to do in 2020. I said to my people, I want to talk about the border, what a job I did. They said, sir, nobody cares you did it. It was good. We went from a terrible border to a great border very quickly. I did a great job. And then I come in and I look at what's happening now, and the only difference is that the border in 2016 was 1/20th what it is now. We have the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a border like this. And I want to be the border president, and I hope you call me the border president, because I'm going to show you what a border security job we can do, and we're going to do a job like never has been done before. There's never been a border like this. I believe the real number is 21 million people are here, and many are thugs, criminals. And remember this, if you go to South America, and if you go to these countries that have taken their prisoners out of their jails to empty their jails and dumped them into the United States like we're a dumping ground, you're going to see their crime rates have gone down by 50, 60, 70, and 80%. If you look at Caracas, Venezuela, they took their criminals and drug dealers and rapists off the street, and they dumped them into the United States of America. Dumping ground, they call it. We're a dumping ground for Venezuela because we have stupid people running our country. And you think Biden's bad? This one's going to be worse than Biden.